Howdy everybody and welcome back to the Cast Gaming Channel. James here once again, and I've got another Napoleonic Total War 3 mod replay for you guys today. So by now, if you're watching this, the Cast Gaming Kickoff Tournament has already started as of May 15th. So thank you for everyone who signed up for that, and thank you everyone who has supported the channel along the way. As of making this video, I have about 50 subscribers, and I hope to continue to grow the channel, and I would continue to appreciate your help in doing so. So today's map is going to be on Flanders 8. It's a very popular map, and it was submitted to me by, or I should say this replay was submitted to me by Ave Dominus Nux, so thank you very much for the replay. So let's go ahead and get into today's tactical breakdown. I've done this map before on a historical battle, I believe, historical, not so historical series. So the United Kingdom is going to be starting off here on the far left side. They're going to take this one pointer, which is what I recommend, and try and outflank potentially France on this left side. Typically what happens in this map is that there is a push for the center town here by both armies. Usually France holds this high ground, pushes some infantry inside of the town against these stone walls, and tries to hold as long as it can, and then its armies try and maneuver on the left side or the right side. Now, I would say it depends which side you're going to choose to attack. If you're going to be France or the Imperials, it's going to depend on the type of armies that you have been able to place throughout the map, the type of armies that you're facing, which is usually the case with most maps, but you're going to want to attack the easier armies to defeat. So we have Prussia here, which is a 9-pointer for the coalition today on this far right of the coalition line. We have the United Kingdom, 1815 in the center section, along with Austria in the center section as well, more towards the left starting out. And then I had already pointed, there was a 10-pointer United Kingdom on the far left. Let's see what we've got on the Imperial side, just to see if we can get a matchup. I'm going to slow this down a little bit. We've got France, Italy on the far right of the Imperial side. The United States is in the center. Looks like France, España is on the center left. Is there a far? There should be. Oh, I already passed them. That's right. We've got the 1809 to 1812 French armies here. This is a bit of a mistake here. He's pushing up his cavalry here way too soon. I think he's trying to delay the Austrian advance, but he's in danger of being overwhelmed by the combined might of the United Kingdom, Austria on this side. Also, the United Kingdom, the Peninsular Arm of the United Kingdom, has Cavs sitting right here. There could also be some artillery already placed down on the field, which could be taking some shots at the Cav in the center. This is kind of a bold move, what France is doing here. I just mentioned I don't recommend, but going in for this. Let's see if this pays out for him, and then I'll continue the tactical replay here. So he's charging in with this Cav in the center section against some Austrian light Cav. He may be able to, he's probably going to be able to win this Cav engagement initially against the light Cav. They're running away. It doesn't look like Austria particularly wants to engage. But Austria could flank around this Dragoon unit. We've got some more Cav engagements on this left side. Caught this Austrian Cav just kind of sleeping. Austria's gotten its line units into formation. Some more Dragoon units into the fight against Austria's Chevaliers. Looks like he's probably going to be able to rout all three of them. There they go. Looks like Austria still has at least one light Cav unit left. So a very bold move here by France. The 1809 France player. I don't typically recommend doing such a bold move, but it seemed to have paid off here. Looks like we've got a heavy cav unit facing some more heavy cav units. Looks like the United Kingdom Peninsular Army here. If I had been United Kingdom, I would have used this heavy cav to pin France in place. Then I would have maneuvered this other light cav unit along with the other cav unit he had and gone around the back or the side of France. Now, this cav engagement might have paid off for France in the early game, but you see he's moving his troops up. He's going to be isolated. I don't recommend doing this. An 11-pointer army is a strong faction, but looks like Austria will be able to come up against this 11-pointer France, along with the United Kingdom, and Prussia can send over units and just wrap around France 11. Yes, the United Kingdom is going to be facing some cav on this left side, but I don't see the rest of the army for France, Italy on this side. Not to mention they control this house. This is not a good position. United Kingdom is going to be able to get some artillery in position here. They just have the better ground. So as I was saying about the tactical breakdown, now that the actions kind of calmed down here a little bit, there's a couple options here. Attacking the flanks on either side, it just depends on whose army you're confident you can defeat. Prussia could probably take out France-Espagne, depending on the unit composition. If France-Espagne decides to attack, Prussia could just take some guns, place them on the hill, get into the town. But as it stands here, it looks like Prussia is actually coming over to help out the center section against this French encroachment. Austria's kind of formed a line here looking to engage, or thinking that France is going to engage here. Really what he should be doing is pushing up his troops here. He should be pushing up his line units. He should be pinning France down so that the United Kingdom can come over and attack as well together. Meanwhile, Prussia looks like it's actually, if we go back to Prussia here, it looks like it was moving its units over to come support. Now it's moving its units back towards the town. I think they were thinking that France was going to push harder than it has been at the moment. Now it looks like France is, instead of coming straight forward, it's deciding to go after the flank of the United Kingdom. United Kingdom is not aware of this, and they are pushing up to their detriment. They're going to be isolated very, very quick if they can continue, or if they choose to continue pushing forward against France, Italy on the side. I don't see the rest of the French army here, but this cav is enough to tempt this United Kingdom army to isolate itself. I'm extremely surprised. Austria has an excellent opportunity to go after this isolated French infantry. Yes, France has some cav support, but the combined might of the United Kingdom and Austria is not going to be, should be more than enough, rather, to take on France. Prussia here is continuing. It looks like it's holding against the right flank as France-Espagne is continuing to at least threaten that side potentially. However, at this point, I think what's going on is that France, or the Imperials rather, are shifting all of their armies over to this right flank. And looks like we've got a line engagement here. It's a small number of French infantry. This is actually very surprising. There's some nice volleys, but France is not going to be able to stay in this line battle for long. It's basically outflanked on both sides. It's losing the local superiority. I'm guessing he went for a smaller, more elite army potentially here to be able to hold this flank maybe brought some more extra cav instead. I'm not really sure what the plan is here. Looks like we've got 3 armies converging on this United Kingdom player, which is exactly what I was mentioning earlier, and he's going to be isolated here from his allies, or he already is, rather. And here comes a huge cav charge, but he's just charging them right into the square of England. I do not recommend doing this. He might be doing this just to hold these armies in place. We've got more cav joining the fight here from France. Squares formed all along the lines here. Unfortunately, that's going to allow France, Italy to move up, get some extra fire into them. Looks like there's artillery on this far left side. Going to be able to shoot into these squares with no problem. France looks like it's just going to charge its units right into these squares. Maybe break them, allow the cav to just finally engage without having to worry about the square formations. Charges all along the line. Some successful, some not so successful. Looks like the United Kingdom, in a desperate attempt, is charging its cavalry into the fight in an attempt to delay this French advance. All this cavalry is coming. The United States is following behind France, going to be able to destroy anything that's left of the United Kingdom. And that's what you want to do if you're the Imperials. You want to defeat your enemy in detail. Just swarming all along the United Kingdom lines. There's nothing really United Kingdom can do other than fall back to this house position right here. They'll be guarded against artillery and cav charges, but they're just gonna be basically in siege mode there. Now, it does look like France, Italy took a lot of losses going for the charge. They should have just gone for a shooting battle, since the United Kingdom is taking fire from a lot of artillery. Could have just outshot the United Kingdom at that point. But either way, the United Kingdom is gone. Now, it looks like a lot of the France-Italy infantry is gone as well, so the United Kingdom might have been at least able to take out an army in turn if you count all the casualties incurred from the Imperials trying to take this position. So let's see here. We've got 1809 France coming up against Austria. Austria needs to get in a line formation as quickly as it can. It needs to protect this large artillery battery here, because I see this cav charge coming a mile away. There's just a couple cavalry units to protect, and it's not going to be enough against all this cavalry units. You got 2 dragoon units and a general unit that's basically the fastest a French unit can go, which is a C8 cav. It's wrapping around this artillery, and that's going to be crucial to the defense here. Austria is only able to form lines here, I think, with just a few units. These units cannot form squares. Needs to get them into line. Maybe at least able to take shots off at some cavalry units. It looks like the general unit was charged here. He's probably going to rout or be killed. United Kingdom is coming up here. It's got some artillery in place. It looks like this far side here, Prussia has not engaged. Looks like it's just holding the right flank. It's got an artillery battery. It's got some protection with it. But it looks like España is actually coming over to attack the United Kingdom. Prussia needs to actually start moving some troops over, starts funneling to support its ally. Should have been doing that earlier, actually, along with Austria and the United Kingdom should have been chasing after 1809 France. Looks like Austria's got some units out of position here. Might have actually just left the game. Might have been a rage quit. So we essentially have one Imperial army gone and 2 coalition factions gone already against the Imperial faction today. Looks like France is just going to finish off what's left of Austria. And here's the thing. Here's what I don't see very much French infantry here. It looks like a lot of these are National Guard units. Almost all of them are, or at least half are National Guard units, along with just 1 or 2 units that can form square. So his big plan, I think, here was to take a bunch of cavalry, some decent cavalry, and just try and catch the coalition out of place. And it seems to work. I don't think the coalition was actually expecting that tactic. I think they were expecting the normal battle over the center point or the flanks, which is exactly what I was expecting. So France, España is pushing up. Prussia's still static here. Should start pushing against España here. It looks like the United Kingdom is forming a line, just defending itself as best it can. Should probably have taken this hill, so it can place its artillery upon it, place the infantry upon the hill, be able to get some better defensive position if he's going to be surrounded or outflanked here by 2 armies. The other option would have been to retreat his armies completely, try and link up with Prussia as best he can. I know there's some cavalry here getting around the rear of both armies, cutting them off, but all of United Kingdom's infantry units, I think, can form square. We've got a line battle going against France. 1809 France coming up. Here again on this artillery battery. This artillery battery is way too close. It's way too close. He's probably... Yes, he can probably use canister shot at this point, but some infantry could easily take this artillery battery out, along with some good placed cav charges. However, it is a nice opportunity to see some good line battle action here. Let's check out the French side here. Now, I'm pretty confident in a straight line battle, the United Kingdom is going to be able to take out all this National Guard unit. Technically Guard National, but that's okay. Popular unit, the Canaries. And the Swiss are also another popular unit to bring in any French army. Looks like we've got an arrowhead basically here forming, or kind of a crooked L, depending on how you want to say it. España's coming up. They're isolating the United Kingdom. Looks like France is actually going for this charge into the back lines of the United Kingdom. Might be going to turn, attack the artillery or the general. Is able to get into the lines here. United Kingdom is not forming square anywhere, and they're just getting mass cavalry charged. The artillery is gone. That was the only thing keeping any... it was the only thing keeping France at bay. And here comes France 1809 to follow up their cav charge with some infantry charges. Along the lines will probably be enough to get rid of the United Kingdom on this side. There's some surviving United Kingdom units facing off against a fresh France España army. Meanwhile, all of its allies are gone in the center and in the far left of the coalition's lines. And they're going to be overtaken here in just a few moments. On this beautiful blue sky, partly cloudy day in Flanders. So here we have Prussia on the far right side, isolated, alone. Its allies are almost entirely gone. Austria, what's left of the computer, is now pushing up. A few units left. Well, not really a threat. Looks like the United States sent some units in to try and take this house, and the general inside is fighting for his life. Oh, and it looks like the general has died in a valiant defense of the farmhouse. A last stand. France is wrapping up in the center against a few last Austrian units. Now, I guess if you're Prussia at this point, the only thing you can really do is try and find a good defensive position, put your artillery on top of it. Looks like he's got, let's see, 4-gun 6-pounder followed by, well, it looks like he had another 6-pounder that might have been charged. And either way, it's gone now, but he still has a 4-gun battery, not too bad. España is pushing on this left side here of the, I guess we'll call this a lake here. And a little bit of a bold move here. There's not very many infantry units. He's going up against a hill against a large artillery battery. No support whatsoever. I don't think he should be doing this. He should not be attacking at this time. And this is actually a pretty darn good defensive position for Prussia on this left side. And the reason that is, he's got a lot of his infantry units on this far left side to protect against charges. There's a narrow passageway that France has to cross, or any Imperial units have to cross through this section. It will slow them down immensely. He's got additional units right here to protect any infantry pushes. He's got some cav behind his and to the side of his artillery battery. And because there's this lake here, it's going to protect him from frontal cavalry charges, and he does not have to place any infantry there in order to protect that side. It's a natural barrier he doesn't have to worry about. And this was premature on France's part, pushing up its infantry units. If he was going to make a push here, he should have maneuvered his units along the road here, get to this house, come up through this road, try and get behind the Prussian army and take this house, especially because if you can take this house, it would be an excellent point to push up. If Prussia decides to fight on this hill, you could always retreat back to this house. Prussia will have a hard time trying to take this house because it's so well protected from musket fire. So we still have some units in the center wrapping up here. I'm going to fast forward, see if we can get to the action here. So it looks like France is deciding to push on the left side here, close to this farmhouse. I don't recommend this since Prussia has taken this house. Not to mention it has the high ground. The artillery battery is right here. I don't think España is going to be able to win this fight by itself. Prussia not only has the house, he has the high ground, he's also got the stone wall. And if you're a Civil War buff, you know what that means. There's just not enough infantry here from France to take this by himself. He needs the support of additional units, and this is what I was talking about here. Since Prussia does not have to commit any units to hold this frontal section, it can come over and get the local superiority and outflank France-España on this side. We've got a United Kingdom cav charge coming in against Prussia here. May not be enough to break the Prussian lines. We shall see. United States cav is not necessarily the best cav. It's just kind of a blobbing here. I would have tried to get around this Prussian unit if you could, if you were the United Kingdom. Maybe charge this other Prussian unit so it couldn't turn and fire against your army. United States has lost 2 cav units. It's got a dragoon unit here, a small dragoon unit. Still fighting valiantly. Unfortunately, it broke. Not a good use of cavalry from the United States here. Lost 3 cavalry units to 1 Prussian infantry unit that might even return. France on this side is still continuing a little bit to fight. At least he's got some protection from this farmhouse. Not a whole lot. Might not take too many casualties from the farmhouse here, but he's still a little bit exposed. Again, Prussia still has the stone wall here on this left side, and I didn't see this. It looks like Prussia is getting attacked here. Looks like a cav battle against a couple of the lines here from Prussia. Looks like España cav on both sides. Not to mention a line battle has engaged here. Some more French España units. It looks like maybe the other side was just a diversion against Prussia. Prussia doing a good job here. Fall back. Get to your artillery. Get to the support of your artillery. So hopefully rout this France-España army coming after you. And the Imperials really need to start coming over to Prussia if they want to defeat Prussia completely. Prussia still has a good artillery setup here. If I was Prussia, I'd start pushing up some infantry units against these 2 line units right here. Good job on retreating your infantry here so that they might be able to get some extra fire against his line units. Trying to keep your army intact as possible for as long as possible. Keep the enemy under artillery fire as long as possible. And it looks like 2 routing cav units here from France-España, which might have been charged in earlier, were not enough to rout the Prussians on this side. Again, Prussia is reforming. France is coming around. Some more cavalry charge here from 1809 France. Are they going to be able to do the damage? Looks like this was a mischarge here, just taking unnecessary losses from the Prussian line unit. He should have committed that cav or not tried for the charge whatsoever. Should have gone around the flank of Prussia on this right side instead. So he did not have to worry about the artillery, did not have to worry about any additional cavalry charges or counter charges. Again, France has some units here just taking artillery fire. Not going to be very helpful. I don't think France-España can win on this left side. I don't think they have the manpower. They're going to be under constant fire from this artillery. There's too many Prussian units, and we've got a volley coming off against France-España right here. Not to mention the house is still there. The United States is still a ways away to come support its allies here. España just does not have the manpower to defeat both sides. Looks like there was a cav charge against the center of the Prussian lines by some more French cav, some French heavies. Was not enough to defeat the Prussian line units. Again, we've got some more line units. We've got a unit on the far side of France folding, which I thought was going to be the case. They're just getting... This is just too much. They need to retreat these line units here. Save them. See if they can reposition them to the other side. Looks like this France player is realizing he cannot win the battle on this side. He's too close to the artillery. Just going to be too much for him to take on by himself. We've got another cav charge on this far left side of Prussia. Looks like this light cav. This is actually a general unit, I believe. Murat is a general for a cavalry general for the French España army. France continuing to retreat. The Prussia's position and Prussia and the composition of Prussia's army is just too much right now for España to take on. And it looks like Prussia has some light cav here, maybe some scouting to see if he could get some general snipes, but instead he's found a tasty snack here. It looks like some 6-pounder foot artillery out in the open, unprotected from the United States. And it looks like freedom came at a high price for the United States today. Looks like more 1809 French cav is trying to go in for a charge here, but this is a mistake. This is a big mistake. A frontal charge against Prussian units that can form square and are already firing into your units. Not to mention there's a backup cavalry unit here should you be able to break the line. Just overcommitting this cavalry would be better served against the flank of the Prussian line. This is a big misstep. And it looks like 1809 France's boldness that helped destroy the coalition line so early in the match is not going to serve it well here. Looks like this Prussian player is a little bit more prepared than its allies earlier in the match. Looks like Prussia is repositioning its units. It looks like France 1809 is still coming up with its infantry, finally starting to get around the lake in support of its units. United States still a ways off. It's going to take a long time. Oh, it looks like Prussia's got another unit in the back catching some chasseurs à cheval, sleeping, rotting them. Oh, Imperials, come on, guys. There's 3 of you and 1 of Prussia. Prussia may be trying to get greedy here, but it looks like it's getting the United States general. It may rout the general. Completely unprotected. There's another artillery piece from France right here. The general's gone. The general is gone. The French artillery is gone. What the heck is going on? Oh, this Prussian cavalry unit that has just been wreaking havoc in the back lines of the Imperials finally routed. Hopefully it returns. I'd like to see some more devastation on its part. It looks like France is pushing up here in the center. It's finally coming around the lake. Send in some more infantry, maybe for a charge here, along with some cavalry units. It's just not enough. We've got the guns repositioned. They're wreaking havoc on all these skirmisher units. Coming down the line, it looks like he's trying to run these units across the battlefield. That's not going to help. France España is re-engaging on the side, probably to try and distract the infantry units as much as possible. Try and take some attention away from the sides. It looks like France again pushing up its National Guard units. Needs to form the lines a little bit better. España trying to reposition while Prussia's attention is focused on the other side. Prussia sees it, is aware, and is able to reposition his units. All this infantry here is just gone. It's just destroyed against 3 Prussian units, 1 cavalry unit, all gone. It's not looking good for the Imperials here. I think they were just way too overconfident, way too cocky after taking out 3 coalition factions within the first 15 minutes or so of this fight. Looks we got some skirmishers. We're able to get a volley on their artillery, but not a single one hit. This artillery has the high ground. It's in a great position. It's protected from its infantry. Cavalry is now charging into the skirmishers. There's no cavalry on the Imperial side that can countercharge. Nobody is prepared. All these skirmishers are in danger of being routed by this Ulan unit. And this large Kentucky militia unit is just routed by 1 light cav unit from Prussia. Prussia again winning the battle around the lake here. Pushing up actually against France España. It's Prussia's now being the aggressor on this side. This gentleman has held off essentially 2 armies, 2.5 armies for the entirety of its match on this side. Looks like the United States is finally pushing up its regular line infantry, but I'm wondering if this is too little too late against Prussia. I mean, Prussia only has 3 line units here, but it has a fantastic artillery position. It's winning the fight on the other side. It cannot take this house. If it has any grenadiers, I would recommend trying to take this house if possible. Or if it had any artillery, now would be a good, or earlier would have been a good time to get some artillery, get the infantry in this house, but I don't think he's going to be able to do it at this point. There is this gap here in between the infantry units, but I think there's just no more cavalry left. Okay, there's 1 cav unit left here, but it's an exhausted heavy cav unit. In fact, France is 1809 France. That player might have dropped from the game. Because he really doesn't have anything left. All of his units are routing. Artillery firing away at the United States. The United States is going to have to cross this body of water, this river, connecting to the lake. In order to get over, it's going to slow them down. They're going to take more hits underneath the artillery, along with any Prussian infantry units. Prussia has pretty much won the fight on this side. Just needs to finally wrap around España on this left side with the rest of its units. Maybe leave a couple, maybe 2 units on this side to protect. And it still has a light cavalry unit in the back lines of the Imperials. My goodness, he could get an easy general snipe on France. España would probably be able to roll up the rest of España pretty darn quick. España in the worst position here. There's on the wrong side of the river. They're on a lower ground position. The house can still take shots at their flank. This is not going very well. If you could, move your armies to the far left side. Maybe try and engage Prussia if they were out of place. But I don't think you're going to be able to do that yet. Or you could use the United States as a screen to push up some extra infantry units behind them. Form around the gaps. Try and get at this artillery. But I think it's going to be a little bit too late. France is just being forced back on this side. Looks like they're trying to reposition. Maybe even bait Prussia into attacking. And again, United States is pushing up. It looks like it's just trying to charge some infantry units here into the line or the gun battery here on top of the hill. Unfortunately, it's just units are just tired. They're going to be moving slow. They're at threat of being countercharged by this Ulan unit here. Is this unit going to be able to get to the artillery on time? Probably not. Might suffer some devastating canister shot. Here comes the cavalry to engage. Was it able to form square in time? It might have been. It was able to form square, but it's sitting right in front of the artillery. The artillery is turning. Oh, it's taking some devastating blasts from the artillery. It's charging in. It's still managing to charge into the artillery. I don't know why that didn't hit. This unit should be breaking right now. Oh my goodness. It looks like the United States, with some unfortunate artillery blasts, was able to at least hit Prussia's artillery. It's going to be devastating to Prussia's defense here. The United States was able to rout the guns. General unit is having to retreat for Prussia. Prussia was able to turn some infantry here to start shooting into the side of this United States unit. The United States is now pushing up the rest of its infantry units. However, one is routing right now. Another one looks exhausted. Probably will rout from a couple good placed volleys from Prussia. Prussia's turning its unit to try and knock out what's left of the United States. The United States is able to get a line unit in the back of Prussia here. Gonna be difficult. If I was France on this side, I'd start pushing on my infantry to take advantage of this placement from the United States. You're not going to have the advantage for long to try and get after Prussia on this side. Prussia actually looks like it's losing the fight on this side now. It might have been engaged for too long. I'm not sure. France does have their general over here, which could be boosting the odds in their favor. Maybe they're able to get some fortunate positioning on this side. I would start falling my infantry units back if I was Prussia, because I don't think you're going to be able to get the volleys off in time. Might be better to just try and kite what's left of France if you can. But I think it's going to be too late. Prussia's breaking on this side, and once they start breaking, they're pretty much just going to chain route, which is one of the Achilles heel of Prussian units. We'll see if Prussia has enough might left here to take what's left of the combined might of the United States and France, España. They still hold the high ground. They still hold the house. I might even fall back this side if I were Prussia. Would have been nice to have a unit here at the stone wall. Espana's looking weak on this right side. Most of these units are winded or tired. It looks like Prussia is still active. Not tired at all. The United States is going for a charge here. I think this is a mistake. They're going to be taking flanking fire from the local superiority here that Prussia has. I don't think they're moving slow as well. They're just taking prolonged exposure to Prussian fire. I don't know if this is going to be enough. Some nasty volleys from Prussia into this United States charge here. You can see the low morale from all of the United States units, and they're just starting to rout. One after the other. Prussia's morale has not even moved. They went in for a countercharge here. Going to be able to wrap up what's left of the United States. Prussia is continuing to retreat. This is a good job. He's giving up the ground here. He's giving up the high ground. He doesn't want to lose his units because he can take the remainder of his units on this side and he can wrap around France. It's more important to keep his army intact at this point. He needs to keep as much as possible because he lost pretty much all of his units except for this one on this side, which will probably rout. There it goes. He needs to defeat France and España as quickly as possible. Wrap around them quickly as possible so he can turn his infantry units and go after what's left of España on this other side. And I think because he has his cavalry unit left, it's still there. He's going to be able to get some devastating damage still against. I think Prussia can win this still. He's not out of the fight. There are no more supporting units available. There is this unit here from the United States, which the United States player probably does not even realize is there, and it's not going to be a factor in this fight whatsoever. They're fighting around the high ground that Prussia continuously has held this entire fight. Not to mention there's this farmhouse here, which will protect Prussia's flank and has continued to protect Prussia's flank this entire engagement. It looks like here France is finally pushing up some units. I would take this grenadier unit if I was France, put it on this far left side, start pushing up all your infantry together because you're going to be able to rout the infantry on the side, then go for a grenadier charge on this flank with these grenadiers, and you should be able to wrap up Prussia or at least get behind them. Looks like France. Italy still has some skirmishers left. They're shaken and tired. The morale is very low, just taking some pot shots against Prussia. Probably not really doing any serious damage. Maybe just a nuisance more than anything else. France España is retreating here. Let's see if he's got any. Nope, this is a retreating unit. Might not have enough to defeat Prussia on this side. However, he can shift his armies to Prussia on this right side, and this is what he should be shifting these armies to get after Prussia on this right side while his ally continues to charge forward. Fall back this center section and left side, bend it back so Prussia has to move forward to charge in. Looks like Prussia is going for a charge. I think this was a bit premature. He might lose his cav unit here to this square formation. If he doesn't lose it, I'd be very surprised. He only has 17 men left. Shift your unit. Fall back, France. You don't have the high ground right here, even though the ground disparity is not very big. But your morale looks like it's dropping and dropping quickly. The French perspective here. I think this is a misuse of this grenadier unit. He should be using this for melee. Looks like he formed square in order maybe to take some shots at this this light cav unit from Prussia. pulled his general into the square. Not a bad idea. However, I still think this grenadier unit is being misused. Even so, Prussia is looking like it's about to break on this side. Prussia's falling back his units. That's a good idea. He's not going to be able to win the fight. Needs to get some morale back. Doesn't want to cause a chain rout on his troops. Oh, and it looks like France España on this left side here. Looks like it routed except for the 2 units here. And that's why I suggested pulling these units back so that you would prevent this, giving time for the other side of the army to hit the flank. There was an opportunity here to sandwich this flank against these units here along with these couple of units here, but that has come and gone. Prussia is now going to be able to turn what's left of its units, extend its line, wrap around France. Not to mention it has the cav, which you could charge into this unit right here, which I think I would be doing. Could be potentially charging into these young guard units if we can catch them unaware. There is still this. This unit is not able to form square as well. That would be a good target. Could always go after the general. Looks like Prussia sneaking up its cavalry again. And this has been one heck of a match. I tell you, Prussia's been facing off against a minimum of 2 armies, potentially 2.5 armies, all at once. Looks like he went in for a charge, but trying to get after the general. Oh, there goes his chance to get the calf. However, he did rout. He did rout the general unit. The general unit is gone. Looks like a United States Army went after the house here. It's probably not going to be able to destroy what's left of Prussia. This has been a long fight on Prussia. Long, drawn-out fight. Prussia is finally retreating against what's left of España. It's retreating to the house, potentially maybe doing a little bit of kiting here. Falling back to the house. The house is going to be its saving grace if España decides to engage. Looks like there was a returning unit from some France 1809 cuirassiers. But since that player is no longer in the match, it's not going to be a big factor here. Let's see if there's any points taken. It doesn't look like the Imperials at this point have taken any houses. It doesn't look like they've taken any points. Prussia appears to be the only one that's taken any locations on the map. And so even though it's only a 1-pointer and its allies have been defeated this entire time and it's been holding off by itself, there's only about 5 minutes left to go in this match. Prussia's fallen its units back. Oh, and there's some additional Prussian units came out of nowhere. I didn't even know that these were there. Came up in support. Prussia should continue to push up its infantry right here in order to support these units right here. Could probably be able to rout this unit right here. You can see the morale has dropped from the volleys. Down to about half strength. And this is just kind of a back and forth, a rubber banding, a fire and maneuver, maneuver and fire. And now Prussia is pushing France back again. Looks like we have a United States unit able to come up. This unit right here looks like it might have been a sacrifice to hold off some French encroachment. He should be folding back this flank. Should be using his other left flank to try and wrap around France. Able to get some shots off here. Because this is the weaker flank, he should continue to fold it back. have it come closer to the house to get some support. Continue to extend the flank here. I don't recommend running your units, especially when they're already exhausted. They're going to move faster if you just walk them as normal. And you need to let them recover some stamina. Looks like we've got about 3 minutes left to go in this fight. France retreating towards the house. I mean, just look at all the bodies here all across the field. I mean, there are just so many deaths on this side. Abandoned guns everywhere, not only here, but also on top of the hill. On both sides, men strewn across. On both sides of the river. Just so many casualties, even in the center section. You can still see where the United Kingdom was at with all these lines here, still in that L formation. You can still see where the line battles were here as well. One right here, one on this left side, here, and on this far right side as well. Prussia continuing to retreat. There's only less than 2 minutes left. France is going to have to make some work happen if it's going to defeat Prussia. And I don't think that France can win unless it defeats the Prussian army. It might even be a better idea to start throwing some infantry units, if you can, into the house to just try and take it. This is the section you want to try and defeat if you can against Prussia, since the morale was really low. However, the general unit is right here. It's probably going to be able to help support against France, but these units are tired. I'm even venturing to guess that if you just go for a bayonet charge against these line units, it's going to be enough to rout. Maybe just go for a bayonet charge against these 3 units in the center right here. It looks like this one's already folding. Gonna be able to get this one here. This one's folding as well. This one might rout here in just a moment. It's falling back as units. Keeping them intact. Even this Prussian unit on top has retreated. He should have been pushing this infantry unit into the flank of this far left Young Guard unit. But well done pushing or pulling back your infantry here to align with the house. That's going to be able to give you some cover from the French lines. Oh no, there's some more routing units here. Just continuing to fall back. There's only about 5 seconds left in the match, and France is not going to be able to take any points. It's not able to defeat Prussia. France has put in some infantry here into the house, but it's not able to take it in time. Wow, good game, everybody. I know this was a bit of a long one, but Prussia holding off so many enemies all at once was pretty darn cool. So this is going to be a coalition victory today. So let's go through the stats here. Ave Dominus Nox, who sent in this replay, thank you very much for that, was playing as Prussia with 2,742 kills. Nosy was playing as the United Kingdom with 1,153 kills. Mr. Pepe was playing as the Peninsular United Kingdom with 617 kills. And the last individual, I don't know if I can pronounce this correctly, Puro 2 was playing as Austria, had 204 kills. For the Imperials today, Vasily was playing as the 11-pointer or 1809 France with 2,442 kills. X-Mug was playing as France, Italy with 920 kills. J. Murat 99 was playing as France, Hispania with 1,586. And Joseph Kony was playing as the United States with 547. Go down the kill list for you. It looks like this Ulan unit, light cav unit from Prussia, was the highest kill scoring unit with 430. The next highest being another Ulan unit with 314 units. There was a general infantry unit. I think this is what it was, with 212 kills, along with some musketeers. A lot of kills for the Prussians today. Let's go ahead and go down the line here. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget, if you'd like to send me any replays that might be featured on the channel, go ahead and send something to TheCastGamingChannel@gmail.com, or head to the description box below, click the link to the Discord, and send something in the replay section. So thank you guys for watching. I will catch you on the next one.